Hi, boys and girls. We're going to continue our study of biography with our third day, and we're going to talk about two different kinds of biographies, ways that authors can write them. All right. So we're going to talk about informational and narrative nonfiction type of biographies. Both of these, let me clarify, both of these are nonfiction. The narrative is just written in a different way than the informational. And I like to think about this the same way with our animal research. Some of us wrote in a chronological order, which would be more like the narrative, and some of us wrote with the subtitles, the different subheadings. And you'll see that is more like the informational. So let's get into the meat of this. An informational biography is a text written to inform the reader about a real person. It shares facts in chronological order. It is narrated by an author who is not the person who the biography is about. It's a separate author, and it includes the author's opinion of that person. There are usually main sections in an informational biography. There's usually a childhood, challenges, traits, and their legacy, which is what impact did they have? What are they remembered for? Like Elizabeth Cady Stanton is remembered for working to have women to get the right to vote. Common features here are dialogue and quotations, timelines, dates, and locations. So like very specific information. And there's usually a theme or a message. That's informational. That's like most of us wrote for our nonfiction animal research. Then there's narrative. It's more of a story. It allows readers to experience the suspense and drama of history. It allows readers to live through the encounters with the world around us and with the world around the person who the biography is about. All right. The person in the book usually represents a group of people. So Elizabeth Cady Stanton stood up for a lot of women who wanted the right to vote. It's a way to learn about famous people and make connections to our world. And of course, I know I'm jumping around here a little bit. I'm back in the middle. It's stories about real people who've done remarkable things or have changed the world in some way. So if you think about this in narrative is more like the chronological, it tells a story about their world and their life. And the informational is more like the subtitles. I forget the name we used for it, but hopefully those make sense. Okay. So here's just breaking this down a little bit more. The important thing here is knowing that both of these structures give real information. There's facts based on research, and they all tell about one topic. So even though this is separate, think of this like a Venn diagram. That stuff in the middle is in both of them. The narrative flows like a story. It's got illustrations, it's got dialogues, it's characters and settings. It's told like a story. The informational has a lot more text features. It might have bullets and charts. It might have all about text, which kind of means like, little boxes like, did you know? It's got charts and maps and graphs. It's got headings and captions, photographs, diagrams, and bold print. Okay? Even though the informational makes us think of nonfiction and the narrative makes us think of fiction, it is nonfiction told in a narrative way. So here are two different types of biographies. They're both on a man named Jacques Cousteau, who was a very important man in history. Some of you may have heard of him. He has a lot to do with the world under the ocean. So Mrs. Wyckoff has worked hard reading these online, so we're going to borrow hers again. You're going to listen to the informational video on the left about Jacques Cousteau, and then the one on the right, it's called Manfish, a story of Jacques Cousteau. So you're going to click on both of those and listen to them. And the last thing here is you need to decide which biography is informational or narrative? So you're going to fill in all 4 of these boxes. The first, Jacques Cousteau, is the one on the left. It's the one on the left. Then Man Fish, A Story of Jacques Cousteau, is the one on the right. It should be pretty easy to see which one's informational and which one's narrative. The part that will help you decide, other than just the titles, is evidence from the text. So if you think one is informational, tell me why it's informational. If you think it's narrative, tell me why it's narrative. All right. I hope you enjoy these stories. Jacques Cousteau is a pretty interesting guy, especially because we live near the ocean. And then we will pick up some more stuff about biography tomorrow. Thanks, guys. See you soon. Well, didn't mean to do that. Okay, now we'll really see you.